Me now to discuss is commercial airline pilot Captain Laura Einsettler. Laura, thank you so much for being here. I mean, this is just devastating. These images are very hard to watch. All but 2 of the 181 people on board were killed in this crash. So as we take a look at this, why was the fatality rate so high in this case? Because it feels like something should have been able to stop this plane. It should have been going into a better area where there wouldn't have been such an explosion.
Well, correct. It is devastating to see this. The investigators will be able to determine more based on the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder that they have recovered. I think if there wasn't a type of a wall that was there toward the end, they might have been able to slide a little bit more, saving a lot more passengers.
You know, investigators have said that a bird strike or bad weather may be partially responsible for this crash. So we're starting to get this information in a little by little. How could those factors have caused a landing gear malfunction? So when we think of a bird strike, we think about the birds going into the engine or onto the windshield, but the gear malfunction?
Correct. And that's something that as I said, the investigators will determine. It is very unusual to be landing without any of your landing gear down. So that's something that they're going to have to look at and determine if it was a situation where maybe the crew was distracted because of something else, or it was a determination made to try to land with the gear up in this case, possibly.
You know, whenever we look at things like this, it is so hard to process in your mind because a lot of us fly all the time, and you think about the safest place when we're picking our seats, when we're online, getting our flights ready. The only survivors are 2 crew members who were sitting in the tail of the plane when it crashed. So does sitting in the back of a plane really increase your chances of surviving a crash? Obviously, the front is problematic, but I've always been told that the wings are the safest place. Where is the safest place?
It absolutely depends on the circumstance. Obviously, it's so extremely rare to be in a situation like this. The best thing that everyone can do is you definitely want to pay attention to the safety briefings, always know where your nearest exits are, what to do and under certain emergency circumstances to best protect yourself in an unusual circumstance.
Yeah, and as we take a look at the history, how will this catastrophic crash impact Boeing's already rocky safety reputation? A lot of people have concerns. Should travelers be concerned about flying Boeing?
Boeing makes an excellent product. They've been in business for over 100 years. Over 100,000 aircraft that have been flying through all these decades, and we have about 90,000 flights a day that go out safely. So it really shouldn't be a concern as far as Boeing is concerned. You know, things that they will be looking at is maintenance from the airline itself, procedures and inspections that have been done. Has the airline complied with regulatory agencies and manufacturing directives?
You know, there was a similar incident that happened overnight in Halifax, Nova Scotia, when an Air Canada flight caught fire while landing. Now, no one was injured in this one, but airline officials are also blaming landing gear malfunction in that case. So is this a sign of a larger safety issue on passenger planes? I mean, to have one right after the other, I don't know. It's just very concerning.
Well, as I said, with the almost nearly 100,000 flights that go out around the day safely, if there's any link whatsoever, if it's some sort of third-party manufacturing, those are the things that the investigators will look into. It's extremely rare. And normally, too, we have manual backup systems, and we also have warning horns. So when we're in certain landing configurations, that horn will go off and say, hey, you need to make sure that the landing gear is down. And if there is a malfunction with it, that we have manual reversion and ways to force it down if we possibly can.
Oh, man. Well, thank you so much for your perspective today. Commercial airline pilot Captain Laura Einsettler, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll check back in with you for more perspective as we move through this busy season.